have that. Hello, 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 hello. Hi, my friends. How you doing? Thanks for joining. It's another Sunday. There we go. Light is okay? Yeah, I guess light is okay. Cool. All right. Let me find the chat real quick. There we go. Where are we? There we go. Okay, cool. So, sorry for not streaming last time. Hi, the Bolt. How you doing? Hi, Noro Moxie. How you doing? Thanks for joining. Hi, Tamisa Van Mam. Hi. And hi, Carlos. Thanks for joining again. Very nice. So today, I thought we'd try out different AI models and see how they compare to each other, what kind of results we get. You can suggest ideas in the chat if you want to. I'm using Korea for that because they added quite a lot of new models to that. So we can compare them on the same site, which made it a lot easier. And then just, yeah, see what happens. And it still should give you a good idea what do you get out of the models. And it renders pretty fast. We don't have to load the model. So it's easier, it's more fluent, and we can still get some pretty interesting results from that. All right. Also, how are you doing? What's going on? Yeah. Did you have a nice week or anything? How is your life looking? All right. We can let me put the chat over here real quick. 1 second. And then let's start this new. Oh, and then probably also we want to have ChatGPT to create the prompts in detail. There we go. 1 second. Yes, that should be right. Can move this a little bit over. Oh, I should close this. Yeah, that should be good enough. Okay, cool. So, if you want to, you can suggest different prompts to see what you want to test, what we can test. Maybe also things that are complex, stuff like that. Maybe, for example, write me a prompt for, okay, a cat on the left sitting on a red ball, a dog in the middle sitting on a blue cube, and what else? A dog, a cat, a bunny sitting on a, what do we have so far? A red ball, a blue cube. What would be another shape? Pyramid? Oval? Egg? Cylinder? A pink cylinder. Cylinder on the, whoops, wait a second. Of a cat on the left sitting on a red ball, a dog in the middle sitting on a blue cube, and a bunny on the right sitting on a pink cylinder. All right, let's have that. A monkey playing guitar. Capybara. Oh, that's always good. Okay. A cute scene with 3 animals in a row. On the left sits a cat sits on top of a shiny red ball. In the center, a dog sits on a solid blue cube. On the right, a bunny sits on a smooth pink cylinder. Bright lighting, clear details, balanced composition, minimal background. We didn't define. Well, okay, the dog doesn't really have a, the animals don't really have a color. Okay, so we have all of these models here that we can play around with. So let's start with Korea 1, which is their own model. We can try that, see what we get from that. 16 by 9, let's go like this. And then we have 1, 2.2, select model. The prompt is going to be the same. And then let's go up here. We have Flux. Let's do that. And then we have Gwen. Let's do that. And then we have Flux 1 Korea. Distilled open source version of Korea 1. Is that different? Well, we can try it anyways. Let's see. And will Flux Pro, should we test Flux Pro or not? And then we have ChatGPT, which I'm not sure. Seed Dream 3, should we test ChatGPT or not? Seed Dream 3 we have. And Imagine 4 we also have. And then, Runway Gen 4. 60 seconds, that's a little bit long. And Ideogram is a little bit expensive. Oh, Imagine 4 is also a little bit expensive. Should we include ChatGPT and Ideogram and Runway or not? Runway is a bit slow, but let's include Runway. I mean, I could actually do Runway on its own site because there I have like unlimited. Oh, it requires an image, so we can't do that. Oops, sorry. Yeah, and Ideogram. Let's do Ideogram also. Okay. Did I miss much? No, we just started. Hi, Benji. Thanks for joining. Hi, Doe. Thanks for joining. Hi, Chex Steelfed? Is that how you say that? Hi. Hi, Mark. Thanks for joining. All right. So let's check this first result out. The first is Korea 1, which is a little bit more artistic. This is not a bunny. That's a cat. So there's the first mistake. The first like images here, you can see it creates 4 images. So these are 2 cubes, by the way, and this is not a cylinder. Not a cylinder, and also not a bunny, not a cylinder. Not a bunny, a dog with bunny ears, interesting, but a cylinder. So we have that, okay, cool. And this is what? Wait a second. So this is 1, 2.2. Do you see 1 or when? 1, right? Use VO3 widths to verify a business idea by going to people Fremont Street, asking if they'd pay. Then we wipe coded the website, got reservations, Claude. And what are you doing for them? Like what kind of videos do you create for them? Okay, so this is, what is this again? 1, 2.2. So we do have the cat, the dog, and the bunny. The bunny looks a little bit like a cat, but it's still a bunny, and the shapes are also correct. So that's pretty good. The image is a little bit, not so nice, but I mean, it's what we asked for, right? And there's the other one. Oh, that's a bunny for sure. Okay, the dog is not sitting on it, and it's also not it's almost a cube, but it looks kind of like a cylinder, and he's not sitting on it. But other than that, pretty cool. I like the reflection in the red ball. That's pretty amazing. Okay, next one is what? Next one is Flux. Oh, Flux went with not a photo. It's a very cute bunny, but not a cylinder, so that's pretty interesting. How accurate the reflections, ray tracing, and shadows are. How can we test that? How accurate the reflections are? Maybe like a reflective chrome ball in a street or something like that. That might be an interesting idea. I made videos of the product idea. Of what product idea? So not a cylinder, but the rest is pretty good. Not a cylinder again, but the rest is pretty cool. I like that here the cube for the first time is on the edge, which is an interesting idea. And there we have a cylinder. Actually, everything is there. We even have a, what is it called? Shiba Inu, right? That's pretty cool. And there we have not a cylinder again. What is that? The last one is actually also photo style. And the ball is kind of like egg-shaped a little bit. This is Flux, by the way. We're looking at Flux here. It would be nice if when you go big, it still shows you the name of the model. But anyways, this is Gwen, the Gwen model. The shapes are correct. The animals are correct. The style is a little bit like a 3D style. Mix of 3D and photorealistic. And this is more like a photo style, and the shapes again are correct. And it's a minimal background that we asked for. So it's pretty cool. I'm surprised. It's pretty good. That's Gwen, by the way. That's Gwen. This is Flux 1 Korea. So the Flux Korea version. This is apparently something you can also download because it says here distilled and open sourced version of Korea 1. The shapes are correct and the animals are correct, which is surprising because this, the open source version, is better than their not open source version, where the bunny is not a bunny. It's kind of like a cat bunny, dog mix everything together. So it's kind of strange. Here, not a cylinder, but the animals are correct. Next one, oh, cylinder, correct animals, pretty cool. Compared to 3D. What is compared to 3D? Flux Korea is for sure is better. Interesting, right? That is better. Also, nice shapes, good animals. Bunny doesn't really have a tail here, but maybe it's like just bent around the corner. So that's okay. The cat has like reflections of the paws. That's interesting when we talk about reflections. There's no cameraman reflection here, but no, it might be okay. And then we have a 3D version again. Is the 3D version? No, that's another model. That's Seed Dream 3. Or is it Seed Dream 3 or is it Sea Dream 3? Because it doesn't have 2 Ds. Would you say Seed Dream or Sea Dream? Or Seed Ream? I don't think it's Seed Ream. Can you do high dream in Korea? No. I don't think you can. Oh, it has Imagine Ultra and Imagine Fast. So it does have some models you don't have public access to, like open source local access to. Also like Flux Pro and stuff like that. All right. Okay, we didn't see that. So Seed Dream 3, there we go. Or Seed Dream. What would you say? Is it Sea Dream or a Seed Dream? The way it's written, it's Sea Dream, but I don't know. Okay, so this is the correct shapes, the correct animals, and it's 3D. It's pretty cute 3D style also. The cat is very nice. And this also 3D style. We didn't define the style in the prompt, so that's okay. And everything is correct otherwise, so that's pretty cool. Very nice. And then here we have Imagine 4. Correct shapes, correct animals. The cat is surprisingly large, or it's a young puppy. The ball has a line here in the middle from production. That's an interesting detail. I also like that these balls, if they are shiny, always have a reflection of studio lights, right? I mean, that's just like how it is, but yeah, interesting, right? Like by how it is, I mean like how it is in real life. I wonder what that reflection is. Oh, wait. Is that the reflection of the cube and the dog in here? For real? Wow, let me open this in a new one. That is the cube and the dog, right? Wow, that is impressive. Do you see that? I would say that's a dog up here. That is very impressive. Okay, cool. Very nice. Good job. That was what? That was what? Oh, that was Imagine 4, yes. And then we have here Ideogram 3, which is square for some reason. Nice animals. The puppy looks a little bit strange, but maybe. Yeah, everything is correct. It looks like an old school analog photo, right? Other models did that reflection too. They did it too? Oh yeah, there's like the little bit of the reflection. Oh! First time that we have a landscape reflection in here. That's interesting. Okay. And the animals and the shapes are also correct. So that's pretty cool. Like AI has come a long way. You're right. There's also this kind of reflection, but there's no puppy in here. And there is also this reflection, but no puppy in here. These don't really have reflections. This has a reflection there. I don't see a puppy though. What about this? The blue cube is here. Is this the cat? The cat bunny over here? Maybe. And there we have like this stuff here is... it looks more like a a wave cloud or something like that. Okay, so this was the first test. Let's go and have... should we have another prompt from here? Create a prompt. For a large reflective mirror ball sitting in the middle of the street, reflecting the street. Okay, let's see that. That was a good idea. Oh, it's a very short prompt. It's kind of like large reflective mirror balance placed. What? A large reflective mirror ball placed in the middle of a street, perfectly mirroring the street buildings and sky around it. High detail reflection, realistic lighting, cinematic atmosphere, balanced composition. All right, so let's go through everything again. We have here Creo 1. Let's go with that. Boom. Oh no, wrong dimensions. Let's go like this. Okay, then we have 1. 2.2, we have Flux. Go with that. Then we have Gwen. Let's go with that. Then we have Flux Creo. There we go. Then we have, let's also use ChatGPT this time. It doesn't have, oh, it has 3x2. Okay. Then we have C Dream 3. 60x9. There we go. And then Imagine 4. And then not runway because it needs an image. Ideogram. There we go. Oh, we can change this. 3x2 is the most, or 3x1. No, 16x9. That's very strange though. Okay, and anyways, there we go. You tried this prompt before? What prompt? Create a platypus. What is a platypus? I think I know what a platypus is, but let's see. Oh. Oh, interesting. Can I do that? We can try that. Okay, let's see. Let's have a look at those first. So these we will ignore because it's the wrong size. This is Creo 1. I wish we would see a little bit more of the street though, but what do you think about that? The reflection down here is a little bit like very, I don't know, like lines, like water a little bit. And then this shape here in the middle is kind of strange. But the way it bends up here is kind of nice. This is the next one. Oh, interesting. The only thing I don't like about that is that the sky is different than the actual sky that we see. So that's a little bit strange. It's actually a very interesting test. The buildings look kind of same, but also not kind of like the same. And the stripes are there, but then they bend in a strange way. And they are like different stripes than down here. This is also a very interesting one. I like how there's a shadow reflection there. And then we have here the person. This can't be the photographer, even though it looks like it's the photographer. And then we have a lot of people here standing behind that, but not many people standing on this side, which might be the case. You never know. Concept using it. Yeah, Korea is very useful. It's also kind of like Midjourney, it's true, but it has way more tools and way more models. What I don't like is these smaller details in here. When you look at that, you see that, like how this is not, you know, not the building lines or anything. It's just like fizzing out into these kind of like strange organic patterns or something. So that's a little bit strange. Okay, what else do we have? 1 second. Oh, this is also still Creo 1. We have a double reflection in here, which is pretty cool. It's a nice idea. Again, the sky is different than the sky in the background. Interesting. I mean, the reflections are all very consistent to the ground and to the buildings and the sky situation we have, but all of that is always in a kind of like not so great detail, right? Feel real? I've noticed it. Yeah, right? I mean, it's a difficult subject, to be honest. And not sure there's a lot of images to train from. This is 2.2. I mean, there we have the same kind of like problem where the buildings just fizzle out into something else and the details are not so nice. It's the same scene, but like different details. The light situation is the same, but you can see like these two stripes here, they don't exist. So there's nothing to actually reflect there. And the buildings, when you look at the details here, again, they create like strange shapes up here. not in a way that would come from a ball reflection, right? Because a ball reflection is just bent, but not like how would you say? Not like a liquid surface where it like completely distorts the surface. It's just like pulling the surface in one direction. There's another one. Again, this model is 1.2.2. It's a very interesting test and a very difficult one, I feel like. The results are good, but they are not great and they're also not realistic, so you can't really use them. There's a lot of like what looks like motion blur down here. Interesting. Okay, so far no winners. Flux, let's see what Flux does. Oh, surprisingly good. Okay. This up here is kind of not great, but here the first time we have actual like building details. The bending is a little bit too soft, right? Yeah. But otherwise, not too bad, I have to say. I don't know if you have a photo like that, the sky reflection and the actual sky in the background would be the same brightness. Or if the ball, if you make the exposure on the ball, would have a different exposure than the background. I don't know. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, so far this is kind of like the best with the building details, even though the building details are also not 100% there. At least they are not like creating all kinds of like strange wiggly lines. They try to like go along with the surface, but they're not really managing to create the right amount of windows in there. Very interesting. How about the ground? Oh, we do have 2 stripes here and 2 stripes there. And then it's kind of like going a little bit crazy here with the other stripes. Interesting test. Okay, whoops. Okay, sorry. Zoomed in too much. Let's go back. What did we do? Oh yeah, Flux. Oh, we still have 2 more images. Not bad with Flux. It's not correct either, but it's not bad. Right? Interesting. Also, by the way, the interesting thing is also when we look at the buildings, you see like we have here a red building, white building, red building, white building. And we also have that in the background, but that shouldn't be the reflection. The reflection should be from behind us, which there could, of course, be buildings like that. But it's interesting that the other images have that kind of too. You see here brown building, white building, brown building, white building. And there we have like kind of a red building and then a brownish and then a white building, red building, brown building, white building. So it's interesting that this is kind of like a little bit kind of like the reflection of what we also see in the background, right? I think it's a complete mirror. It would be just like the environment, but if you're going for a ball with the imperfections and actual metallic properties, it can be a lot darker with the right, yeah. We can actually look up an image of that. Mirror ball photo. I mean, usually, oh no. They are used to, what would you search for? They are used to create these kind of like 360 scenes for to have the ambient light, I think for 3D rendering. They take photos of that and then they can use it. Can they use it like a skybox? I'm not quite sure, but they use it for something. This is a glass ball, so that's different. Doesn't really help us. Oh, that might be interesting. Maybe these AI models, instead of thinking about a mirror ball, they're thinking about a glass ball, and because of that, they are creating the scene that we see on the sides also in the background. Maybe. You know? Oh, there we go. Reference ball. There we go. It's a reference ball. And I think the reason is because there you have all of the lights in one area all together, and you can like use that. Task Google Gemini Imagine 4. We also have that in there. Sphere. Okay. So let's go on with that. Oh, there we have a disco ball. So Gwen completely went for the disco ball, but only around the outside. The middle is not disco ball. Interesting. Again, you can see the same pattern. Red house, white house, red house, white house. White house, brown house, white house, brown house. So it's really interesting that this is kind of like repeating the scene again. And here, this case it's different. It's a disco ball. The buildings are not the same though, but it does a pretty good disco ball, I have to say. That's pretty interesting. Even though I don't think you would see a disco ball, the scene quite that clear in a reflection, because it kind of like goes into all directions and they are like flat shapes. So I don't think it would give you like a consistent image, right? Disco ball photo. Well, yeah, people don't really photograph disco balls on a street. So yeah, kind of hard to tell. Oh, this is interesting. Where you have a green light here and then also a green light here. Oh, and you have a red light here and then kind of like a light also here. That's kind of strange. Maybe that's AI generated though. Who knows? Who knows? These days, everything can be fake. Okay, anyways, let's go back to our testing here. So we have Flux Korea. Oh, the ball isn't round. Okay, that's not great. Not a round ball this time. This is also not really round, which is also an interesting test. To make things round with AI is often difficult to do. Interesting reflections though. Oh, and there we have like a modern art abstract disco ball. Interesting. Huh. Kind of round. A little bit. They're all a little bit squished for some reason, right? Glass ball has an environmental reflection upside down. Now, yes, the glass ball is like a lens, so it switches upside down. That's true. Yeah. And the reason why you see it in photos then the correct way around is because people just edited it in Photoshop to make it look correct. And give you a more pleasant experience with the ball, right? So not bad, but all look a little bit squished. Where are we right now? This was Flux Creo 1. Now we have ChatGPT. Let's look at that. Okay, so ChatGPT just went for a transparent ball, kind of. I mean, to be honest, these are the best reflections so far in the sense of actual buildings in there with the right amount of windows and such. So that's pretty good. You can see here like 3 windows, 3 windows. That's pretty good. Here we have 3 and 3. But it doesn't look like a reflection, right? Very clean though. Surprisingly clean. I'm still very surprised that ChatGPT like managed to become one of the best AI image models just like right away. And others still can't figure out that quality. That is very surprising. Also pretty good. Would you think this is a reflection? I don't feel it's a reflection. It looks too straight, first of all. Like you're just looking through something. It looks more like you look through a transparent glass ball or bubble. But not specifically a reflection, right? Test crowd reflections on that. Crowd reflections? Oh. There's another disco ball. But I think if buildings don't work, the crowd won't work either, I guess. There we have another disco ball. This is, I think, a little bit more believable with how it's like split up into different elements here. This is, by the way, what kind of model is that? This is Gwen. Gwen is a surprisingly good model. Oh, wait a second. No, not Gwen. Sea Dreams 3. There we go. Again, squishy, not round, not a ball. Nice background and interesting reflections. And here this is almost round, right? Again, nice detail here with these kind of like reflections that are displaced and not exactly the same thing. So that's pretty nice. So yeah, not too bad. Not too bad with Gwen. No. Oh yeah, no, sorry. Sea Dream 3. Sea Dream 3. Ideogram, let's see what Ideogram does. Oh, that might be the best one so far, right? That actually, I would think, looks like a reflection. Nice bending around everything. The person even looks correct. That's pretty nice. Look at that. With the walking person here, that's pretty good, right? And the other person here could maybe be bended a little bit more, but not too bad. And the buildings have actually all of their windows stacked on top of each other, right? They're not going like crazy. And also over here, you see everything nicely in a line, bending along the surface of that ball. That is pretty good. Very nice. The shadow is a little bit strange, but to be honest, I couldn't tell what the shadow would look like in that kind of situation. All right. And then what's the second image? I feel there the bending is not strong enough. What would you say? Whoops. Let me go in here again. Again, very nice buildings, very nice detail in the buildings. The bending on the outside is pretty good. In the middle, I feel like it's a little bit weak. All right? And then this is kind of like... It's also hard to tell. Like, would you think it bends around like that? I'm not sure. It more feels like this is flat and then suddenly bending. More like a flat... flat surface with rounded edges, right? A little bit. Might be a real reflection borrowed from somewhere. Can you test mirror maze? A mirror maze? Oh, we had that, yes. We tried a prompt like that in the past. That was pretty interesting, yeah. Oh, it jumped. Sorry, 1 second. So Imogen 4 was very good with that, I have to say. And then we have Ideogram 3. Let's see that. Very small ball. Very nice reflection though. Even though there's for some reason some liquid here and we don't see the liquid in the reflection. So there's something missing here. You see? It reflects some kind of like gray patch here. But we don't have that anywhere here, so... The buildings are kind of nice, though. Those are interesting. Interesting. Okay, let's see the second reflection of that. Why does it always jump up? There we go. Oh, now we have kind of like a disco ball. The balls are pretty small with this one. Yeah. Disco ball with like too clean a reflection and then again water down here for some reason, but no water reflection in the ball. And the ball also is not really round, I would say. Okay, good. What should we try next? The mirror maze? Oh, we could... Should we do a capybara and a mirror maze? So we have the capybara too. But wait a second. Let me try real quick if it even can do a capybara. Whoops. Nope. Don't want to do that. Capybara. Does it know what a capybara looks like? The hell is going on now? Okay. Capybara. Okay, you write that differently, I guess. Oh, it picked up the image. Sorry, didn't see that. doesn't really do it, right? So we want to do something else. Cappy. A dancer in a pink, oh wait, spandex suit, standing in a room with all mirror, with standing in the middle of a mirror room with many reflections of her in the mirrors. Okay. Create a prompt. All right. A dancer in a tight pink spandex suit standing. Okay. Center of a mirror room surrounded by countless reflections of her in every direction. Clean mirror, vivid reflection, dramatic light, high detail, surreal atmosphere, symmetrical composition. Okay, let's put this down here real quick because I want to have a female dancer. There we go. Okay, let's try this. There we go. We have the, whoops, that was wrong. Let's go for the Korea 1 model. 16 by 9, please. There we go. Boom. Okay, next one. 1, 2.2. There we go. Then we have Flux. There we go. Then we have Gwen. There we go. Then we have Flux Korea. There we go. ChatGPT. Let's go. Whoops, we have to change that. 1 second. Okay. Then we have Sea Dream 3. We have to change that also. 60 by 9. There we go. And then we have Imagine. There we go. And what else do we have? Ideogram. Also 3 by 2, I guess. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's see who can do that. Or not. I'm already seeing something that doesn't work. Set on space, reflecting planet Earth. But we need something that we can compare, right? So wait a second. This is Korea 1. Already pretty bad. You can see like the faces don't have any detail. It's not reflections. It's just a group of people. And then we have a reflection on the top here. Again, the heads are pretty wild here. So that didn't work at all. And it's also not a spandex suit, I would say. It's just like a, how would you call that? What is that? That like the stuff that women wear with the, where basically the panties is built into to the top. It's just one piece. What is it called? That clothing item. Wait. What is the clothing called that women wear that is basically a top and panties in one piece? What is that? A one-piece garment covers torso and crotch, often fastened bottom and snap. A bodysuit. It's called a bodysuit, really? Oh, a leotard. A teddy? I've never heard of a teddy. A teddy? I'll check this. Bodysuit? Oh. Oh. They're called bodysuit? That's interesting. I thought this is a bodysuit. That, yes. But that's a bodysuit? Huh. Okay. And then a leotard. I hope that's not some sexy stuff here. Oh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Leotard. Where's the name come from? Leotard. That's a very strange name. And then let's see Teddy outfit. Teddy clothing. Nope. Ah, that's called a teddy? That's a strange name for such an item, huh? Whoops. There we go. That is a teddy? That sounds... That's not a great name for that item. Teddy. Doesn't sound sexy at all, teddy. Please wear your teddy tonight. What the... What? What kind of name is that? Okay, Teddy. Now we've learned something too. There we go. Don't use Teddy. Oh, really? Okay. Okay, there we go. Well, now you know. All right. Yeah. Flux. Oh, no. Korea 1. Again, not great with the reflections. It's that the faces look really bad. I don't understand why AI, if you have multiple faces, it suddenly forgets how to do faces, even though usually it's very good at faces. And they're like, yeah, Korea 1 with the reflections, not at all. Yeah, again, not at all. Is it? What is this? Oh yeah, that's still Korea 1. Yeah, this didn't work at all. Okay, so we have 2.2. There we have the, it's not really spandex, more like a latex suit. Why Teddy? Yeah, it's kind of strange, right? Doesn't sound very sexy. This is pretty nice. It would have been better to have like angled mirrors also, but it's a good start. The reflections are not great again, because like they are not in a line as you would expect. They're just like standing randomly somewhere. The good thing about that is like she's like seen from the back, so that's pretty nice. The arm is on the wrong side here for the reflection. Should be on this side, so it's kind of okay, but not really. Victorian Secret talks about teddies. Does it? Oh. Okay, so here everything is from the back. So also not great. Apparently reflections are pretty difficult for AI. Again, everything from the back. Huh. At least these are in line, so that's nice. Where are we right now? Oh, this is Flux, by the way. So the two last one were 2.1, and then this is Flux, which has this classic, like everything is like mirrored, like symmetrical, and then you have these long lines of, in this case, people here. Again, yeah, Flux just loves to do that. Again, not really reflections, and they are like, she's facing forward, they are also facing forward. That's kind of strange. I mean, to be honest, they are side reflections. So side reflections actually do face the right way, right? Do they? They do, right? If you have a side reflection, you see the stuff from the front. Only if you have like the mirror behind you, it's from the back. And if it's angled at you, right? So it's really interesting. Because if the mirror is not angled at you, but sideways, you still see the subject from the front, right? In the reflection. How does that even work, technically? Is that kind of strange with mirrors? Mirrors are sometimes strange. Uh-huh. Well, never mind. Anyways. What did I just start watching? There we go. Sexy lady stream tonight. There we go. We're testing different AI models. So again, not reflections. Looks pretty beautiful, but not reflections. There we go. Yeah. I feel like this is the first thing that would probably happen if you have like the Star Trek holodeck, right? This kind of room, probably. Be honest. Right? Lots of people would try that for sure. Anyways, so far, no luck with the reflections. What do we have here? Again. Oh no, wait a second. These are sideways reflections, so that's okay. But there's like there should like I mean, to be honest, we don't see. Wait. Man, I'm so confused right now. What? Oh no, wait. If we have like, there technically could be a reflection behind her that we don't see. The side reflections would be okay, but then the reflection behind the side reflection should be the other way around. So it should be backward, forward, because at some point we should see the reflection from the other side of the room, right? So they can't all just face forward, right? Beam me up. The poses don't match here also. Yeah, it's just very difficult. I mean, this looks almost good, to be honest. Where are we right now anyways? Gwen. This is Gwen. Oh, look at that. That's a very nice pose. Okay. The face is very blurry for some reason. And then the side mirrors are turned sideways, even though the glass isn't turned sideways. Right? So, yeah. Interesting. All right. Which model is that? That is Flux 1 Kriya. Again, can't do it. The face is kind of like getting crazy, and up here we have some like alien reflections or whatever that is. Also very strange. Look at that stuff up here. What the hell is going on up here? That's very strange. And they're like different poses, of course, and she's backwards in this case. Very strange. Okay. Right. Okay, no, yeah, the poses are similar. Again, the reflections are wrong. And for some reason, there's like water or something. Oh, the first painted version. Interesting. Kind of like that. Not great with the reflections. Again, what model is that, by the way? We are still at Flux 1 Kriya, the open source model. So reflections are very difficult. No model so far has managed to do it. ChatGPT also failing. Very interesting, also failing. Maybe it's the prompt though. It might be the prompt, but the prompt is kind of clear. So again, not really. Also the face is strange. You see that with the eyes? You see? Like, one eye is higher than the other one, right? And they're kind of like swollen looking. Very strange. Okay, anyways. So even ChatGPT can't do it. I mean, it does look beautiful what ChatGPT is creating, but it can't do it, which is interesting. Okay. Has SD fallen away? I don't know. Like, nobody's talking about SD anymore, even though I really like the old models. It was kind of the best time of AI. So here we have Dream 3. Again, can't do it. Also kind of like blurry in the face for some reason. And also can't do it. The reflections are wrong. Interesting. Ooh. All right. Again, no, didn't work. And this also didn't work. All right. Okay. So, oh, wait, where are we? This was Imagine 4, and now we have Ideogram 3. Interesting light. That's the most cinematic light we have seen so far. Very nice. Beautiful. A little bit eerie. That's pretty cool. Wow. And again, kind of eerie cinematic light. Pretty cool. Reflections don't work, but very nice. Beautiful. Okay, so we've seen that. What should we test next? Grid patterns will produce consistency instead of reflections without detailed prompting. An old trick to make very easy model cards. What? I don't understand what you're saying in that text. Grid patterns will produce consistency instead of reflections without detailed prompting. Grid patterns. So we should ask for a grid pattern? I don't understand. Very easy model cards. What are model cards? What is that? A model card. Okay. Anyways, in the meantime, what else? Well, I pressed the wrong button twice. Okay, cool. So what else should we test? The grid pattern, the separated mirrors, the model sees a grid. But what would the prompt look like for the grid pattern? Okay. What else could we test? What kind of thing do we want to test here? Let me think about what would be an interesting test. We could test multiple people, or maybe some like interesting scene on how it turns out, how good it looks, or like a character card with different poses, but not coherently related is a model card. You mean a character sheet, a character design sheet. You mean something? Oh, I used the wrong thing. Oh, God. Oh. Ideogram doesn't know what a character design sheet is? That's interesting. Do you mean like that? What the hell is going on? All right. Okay. There we go. What? That's an interesting dress here on the right side, a little bit airy. I think that's for the bean soup evenings of Princess Leia. What the hell is going on? And what is this? What is this thing here? That's like what? Kind of a rat or something. What the hell is going on here? All right, AI is going pretty crazy. Oh, because I wrote zing instead of design consistently. A grid type, a prompt, skip 3 steps, it will do it consistently. But that's something you can do in ComfUI, right? That's not something you can do here if you like skip 3 steps and stuff like that. What is that? Let me check this real quick. What is this? Cinematic cutscene of a space warrior breaking through a glass window of a castle. Slow motion screen captures multiple lighting sources and heavy shadows. Reflections seen in the glass of the window. That didn't work at all, even though this is a very cool scene here with oh god, what is his name? Bounty Hunter? No, what is his name? Boba Fett. Boba Fett? Is that Boba Fett? I'm not sure. Anyways. Okay. I know what you mean, like with the glass reflections. I think we need to rephrase that though. Change this prompt so we see broken glass. Time stood still. Okay. All right. Boba Fett. There we go. The Mandalorian. Yeah, that is the Mandalorian. All right. Let's try this. Oh. Okay. Bigger glass. Reflect the scene. And the hero is jumping through a window. The glass shards are from the broken window. All right, let's go. Okay, let's see. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anything from that because there's just too much interaction. But we can still try because it's a difficult test, so we can still try that. Let's start here. Wait, let's have here bunny first. So we have something to break it off so we know where the starting point is. So this is Korea 1. Did I do it wrong? Oh no. 1, 2.2, okay. 1, 2.2, and then we have Flux, and then we have Gwen, and then we have Korea 1, and then we have ChatGPT. We need to change the thingy here. Then we have C Dream. Again, we have to change that. Oops. And then we have what? Imagine 4. And then we have Ideogram 3. We have to change that again. There we go. Okay, so some of that looks pretty good. Upper limit. You have to like explain that to me in the Discord, because that's, I feel like, too complex right now. And also I can't test it here anyways. But thank you for explaining that about the grid. Okay, so let's have a look at that. So again, the prompt is cinematic cutscene of a space warrior hero leaping through a castle window captured in mid-jump. The shattered window explodes into large glass shards, suspended in mid-air, frozen as if time has stopped. Each shard reflects parts of the dramatic scene, and lighting multiple light sources cast heavy shadows and vivid reflections, creating a slow-motion, highly detailed cinematic atmosphere. There you go. And the model is Korea 1, by the way. It looks very atmospheric, like a cutscene frame, but completely not with the breaking thing. Next one looks like he's thrown through the window. The breaking is very symmetrical, so also nope, not great. Next one, this is kind of like interesting. But he's jumping through a window with like all these kind of like, what are they called? These like metal bars. So they didn't break. That's kind of strange. We don't really see any reflections other than a little bit of light reflections here, which is kind of nice because it highlights the glass shards, but yeah, overall not so great. And then we have this. Again, the window itself isn't breaking, just the glass is breaking. So again, not really working. Okay, that was Korea 1. Interesting. Then we have 1, 2.2. All kinds of stuff are happening, none of which make too much sense. Like he's jumping into the room, but it's very, like, I don't know what's going on here. The window looks very strange. The bars, again, didn't really break. The shards are interesting. These are like the closest shards we've seen so far. And there is like some reflective stuff in here, but yeah, not exactly showing you anything interesting. And there we have... What is this? This is a mix of Halo and NASA Punk, I guess. Very big shards. I like that this is a massive shard and it's kind of like behind him. So it's kind of like hitting him in the neck. And there it looks like reality is breaking here. So I don't know. And the background is very strange. Mandalorian holding a mirror. Explosions, reflections in the mirror. Oh, it's interesting. Okay. Oh, shorter prompts are better for that? Ah, okay, interesting. Well, we can try the mirror room with shorter prompts, maybe. Ooh, wait, what are we looking at right now? This is Flux. Okay, so Flux is doing it actually not too bad. Jumping into the room, we have a lot of glass shards. There's no glass shards overlapping that guy. This is something you could fix in post, but you have to manually like put the shards there. So that's a good chunk of work there. Otherwise, not too bad, I have to say. And that is, yeah, I don't know. It looks like water around here, the edges. That's a little bit strange. And he looks like he's jumping out of the room, and this looks like ice up here instead of glass. So it's a little bit all over the place, to be honest. And he's jumping like cartoon character, kind of. Very strange. Okay. What model are we looking at? It's still Flux. Still Flux. So he looks like a kind of like a Marvel villain a little bit with the red pointy eyes here. That's interesting. The glass again looks kind of strange, and the building looks like it's made from cake that is falling apart. So yeah, again, a little bit strange. And he's getting blasted by diamonds and water, I guess. And he's not jumping through anything. So yeah, Spider-Man? Spider-Man? Ah. Maybe. I'm not sure. Jumping through windows is where AI easily breaks. I guess so. It looks like that, right? Oh, there we have it. This looks more like a bullet hole in my screen right now. So that's kind of strange. For some reason, they love to look like the Mandalorian. I don't know why. And he's jumping through a church window, which would be, I think, technically big enough for him to jump through, even though it's pretty tight jump. We have pretty big shards with some reflective stuff, but not really showing anything of the scene. So not exactly what we're looking for. Next one. Oh, okay. I mean, it looks pretty cool. I like the colors. The reflection is completely different scenes. He's reflecting the multiverse here, right here. This is, by the way, the first one, I think, where the stripes, the bars on the glass are also breaking. So they are ending up here. There don't seem to be some down here for some reason. Yeah. Okay, wait a second. What model are we looking at? The last two were Gwen, by the way. This is Gwen, and this is also Gwen. Next, we have Flux 1 Kriya. This is the open source model. Again, the glass looks more like ice. He's jumping through it, though, so that's kind of good. Yeah. Oh, okay. This looks like a very bad photo bashing. Just a church window that is not broken and way too big shards. And then we have kind of like Master Chief jumping through the window, I guess. All right. Wait, is this? What model is this? Oh, it's still Flux 1 Kriya. Okay, there we go. Again, the glass looks like ice. Not great. Way too big shards. He's jumping out of the window into the bar in the middle. Also strange. This is the prompt reflection on each glass shred. What is the prompt? Type this in prompt, reflection on each glass shred. Yeah, okay, but we have to like finish this review first. Oh, this is the first one that kind of looks pretty cool. These bars here are kind of like broken or cut off. 1 second. So yeah, they are like broken. They are flying very like symmetrical and lined up here. So that's not too great. Otherwise, kind of cool. It's burning outside. It's also kind of an interesting atmosphere here. What model is that, by the way? Aha, this is ChatGPT. This is ChatGPT. Wow. So ChatGPT also isn't great at breaking glass and jumping through windows. Very interesting. I would have thought that ChatGPT does it better. And he is jumping like just sideways, kind of like more running than jumping. It's a beautiful pose, but not at all what we looked for. And again, the shards are just like all over the place. There is a little bit of a reflection here of him in a similar pose. So, little bit maybe. Okay. Next model is Sea Dream 3. Wow. Actually not too bad. The reflections again are from some different scene. This looks like a candle here or something. I don't know. The light is way warmer for some reason. This looks like, I don't know, some like burning, breaking ground or something like that. There's, for some reason, there's fire in the reflections. Or lava, even. And he's jumping sideways through the window. And this is like, who is that? Oh, yeah, I remember. This is one of the Power Rangers. There we go. You know? Doesn't he look like a Power Ranger? Pretty much, right? With that kind of like skin-tight suit and the popping colors. There we go. All right. And again, like for some reason, there's fire in the shard reflections. Not sure what's going on there. Oh, it's using an internal prompt enhancer? Does it? It might. It might do that to get better results. But then at the same time, if it does, why isn't there a button to turn it off? Because I don't see any button to turn it off. Other pages have like a button where you say enhance it or not enhance it, and also they charge extra for the enhancement. There might be enhancement, I don't know right now. It doesn't show up in the prompt though. And I don't see any information here for the image that would indicate like an extra prompt or something, but it might. I'm not 100% sure, to be honest. So this was Seed Dream. It looks pretty cool. It's not correct at all, but it looks pretty cool. Oh, there's a candle actually. There's the candle that's reflected over here. Sorry. All right, and there's another candle here. Aha. Imagine 4. There we go. I'm kind of like, it's interesting how all of the AI models do the glass shards around the hero, but nothing is overlapping the hero, right? They're just like exploding to the outside. Interesting. In a kind of symmetrical way. They do have some reflections here, even though they don't show much, and up here and there. So that's interesting. Again, it's reflecting something completely different, some kind of like city, neon punk city or something like that. And some lights here, warm lights that are not anywhere in the scene. Interesting. Okay. At least he's jumping through the window in a nice way and forward, but he's jumping through the middle beam of the window. What model is this, by the way? Imagine 4. This is still Imagine 4. And there we have Ideogram 3. So again, not great. He's like just floating in midair with gigantic shards. And he's kicking the window. And he has his butt foot out. the third foot. What's going on there? And he has 3 arms too. Interesting, right? If you test these models a little bit and do something strange, it comes up with something completely different. Okay, maybe let's do something where AI models are better at. Create a prompt for a character sheet of old wandering wizard. Digital art style. Be creative with the details of his clothing and items. All right, let's have a look at that. Whoa. Okay, that is quite a detailed prompt here. Let's see what the eyes make of that. So we have something that's a little bit different where eyes, I would say, should be good at it. It would be strange if it's not. Let's do that. And also we have something a little bit nicer to look at. We go with Flux. Fluxy Muxy. There we have Gwen. There we have Flux 1 Kriya. There we have ChatGPT. Let's go like that. Then we have this one, Seed Dream 3. Oops, there we go. Then we have Imagine 4. And we have Ideogram. Again, we have to adjust this. There we go. Okay, cool. It was trained on broken windshields. What was trained on broken windshield? It was doing original stuff that shouldn't happen. Unless attention is broken. Fun prompt. Mona Lisa jumping from glass window. Through glass window? From glass window? Not sure. Aha, this is still rendering. Oh yeah, ChatGPT is just slower. Okay, so let's have a look at something that's a little bit more what AI is good at. So here we have Creo 1. By the way, let's first read the prompt. Character sheet of an old wandering wizard, digital painting, full body turnaround, front, side and back views, plus close-up of face, staff and items. The wizard wears layered, weathered robes patched from many travels, a wide-brimmed crooked hat with charms and feathers dangling from the brim, and a heavy leather belt carrying scrolls, potions, vials, and pouches. His staff is twisted wood, capped with a glowing crystal wrapped in bronze wire, long silver beard braided with beads, tired but wise eyes, worn boots, and a traveler's satchel filled with mysterious trinkets. Add sketches of accessoire, a rune-carved dagger, tattered spell book with bookmarks, and a pocket watch shaped like an astrolabe. Astrolabe? Okay. Fantasy concept art, highly detailed, clean line work, textured shading, parchment line, background. Okay, so that's quite a lot of stuff here. The broken windshield stuff was the last model. All the glass breaking looked like a windshield. A windshield? No. A windshield doesn't break like that. A windshield breaks in these like million little pieces. And unless you're talking about like, I don't know, from the 50s or something. But window glass is made with like this kind of like high, what's it called? High pressure, high density. I don't remember. Something high. There's a lot of pressure in the glass, and then it breaks into these million pieces that are also not supposed to be sharp, as is like a safety glass. Okay, let's have a look at the images that have been created. The first one is by Creo 1. Creo 1 can be pretty nice and artistic and a little bit more like Midjourney, but it's like a mix in the middle between Flux and Midjourney. So it's not as creative as Midjourney, but it's more creative than Flux. Maybe. Let's see here how it turns out. So we have some nice details here. We have the stuff. It's not really like wired as we have read. We have some additional things here. And by the way, Astrolabe. What is that? Oh! Oh. Interesting. Uh-huh. And what is that? Oh. Oh, so it's like basically a mechanical computer to calculate the movement of the stars. Interesting. Okay. Wizard is Optimus Prime. All right. Yeah, we can try that, but let's have a look at these images here. I don't know what this is. That looks a little bit strange down here. We have a book with some sketches in here. Okay, next one. Interesting. These look very similar, like only slightly different details. We have a side view. We don't have a back view. The whoa, how do you pronounce that? Astrolabe. 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 Okay, Astrolabe. All right, Astrolabe. Here. We have the satchel full of all kinds of stuff. Interesting. Next one. Two hands. Okay. They are both holding the same staff here. That's interesting. The staff is like wrapped in wire, but there's no gem on top. That's interesting. Wait a second. I think this is still a Creo 1 model. Here he's red. So the interesting part here is that these designs are very similar from like the outfit and the coloring. So it's not like with the 4 images creating completely different images. And I don't think it did say anything about a green outfit, did it? So here we have a red outfit. It's pretty interesting. There is no clear winner between Gwen and Context, at least as far as I can see so far. We haven't tried Context, by the way. We tried only Flux, not Flux Context, as far as I remember. So here we do have the staff. It's not really wrapped in wire. That's interesting. We have the satchel with some stuff in there. Overall, this is not so great, even though it's the same model. Okay, next is 1.2.2, which I really like as a model. It has some pretty good qualities. This looks pretty close to what I think Midjourney would do, even though the details are not so great. And it's a little bit blurry as far as I can tell. Or a little bit muddy, let's say. Maybe not blurry, but muddy from the lines. But beautiful details. I love the shoes here and how tightly they are like bound. It gives an interesting dynamic. He has a lot of stuff with him, even though the stuff is not very clear that he's wearing. The astrolabe is kind of like missing. There's a nice sketch from the front. Looks different than him though. Otherwise, I love the atmosphere. It's kind of like playful and cozy, right? Isn't even close to the same model in any way. Different prompt training and architecture. Oh, okay. And there we also have something. It's a very like, you can see like a different drawing style, different art style. Very soft and playful. Also from the characters, more soft and playful. It's really interesting. If you compare this to that, you can see how these are like sharper lines. And also the details are less playful, a little bit more realistic, right, from the character. And when you look at the shoes also, heavy boots, everything looks more like it looks more like real consequences, you know what I mean? While this looks more like a playful world where things are like happening but with less consequences, less dire consequences, you know what I mean? Interesting. I like that. Gives you a very different world feel. He seems to have a like a undercoat that is also made from his beard. That's kind of strange. All right. The next model we have here is Flux. This is just Flux. And Flux always is a little bit on the drier side, on the too clean side. It looks very beautiful, nice details, sharp also, but a little bit too slick. Don't you think? Often I feel like Flux is a little bit too much on the nose. It needs a little bit more playfulness and variety. Yeah, differently trained even at that. When Gwen line has much more context and is a different model. As far as hey, Triple Monkey, how you doing? Oops, sorry. Gwen image edit model is better than context. Oh, okay. All right. So wait a second. This is one. We have nice details here also. The astrolabe is not. It's just a watch here in this case. He has a giant sword for some reason. I love the staff though, with the feathers and the gem, and there's like wires and stuff down here, little trinkets. That's pretty cool. Very nice. Also very interesting. So Flux gives you some interesting playful details, right? I love how this gem here is very pointy and sharp, and this is also pointy but not as sharp. It's more like a thicker kind of gem. Love also that the gem and the clothing have like the similar or same yellow in here. That's very nice. And interesting head. It's a 3-pointed head. You don't see that very often. That's very nice detail. Very cool. Very interesting. Next one. This is a little bit blurry. Again, very beautiful details. Look at the gem again and how this wire or whatever is bending around. There's again a little bit of a feather in here. Very, very nice. Again, very clean. I would love it to be a little bit more, you know, a little bit more grittiness in there. Like this does. You see the grittiness in the painting, how it's like human and has these different shades and is like more organic. Even in the gem, you see like these little, like kind of like almost brushwork in there, right? And then here everything is like super clean. Yeah, a little bit too much. This is also nice. He looks like he has been on the road for quite some while and had seen some better times, right? So very nice details in there. Oh, this is also very nice. Look at that. With this little, like, it looks like leaves in here, but leaves made from fabric or even leather. Very interesting. I love the belt and the stuff that is, sorry, hanging from his belt. The little bottle here. Very nice. Also the inside of the book, even though it seems kind of impractical to have a gem in the book. But yeah, kind of cool. The knife is also nice. And look at the staff. Wow, that's a very cool staff. Very nice, right? They're pretty close. In dome cases, Context wins. And in other cases, Gwen wins. Aha. All right. Where are we? Okay, that was Flux, by the way. So now we come to Gwen. Again, Gwen, really nice. Again, this kind of like more painterly thing. For some reason, again, kind of muddy from the line work. A little bit like blurry. Don't know why that happens. But very playful, beautiful details. In this case, also details you can actually recognize. You do have a flask here. There's kind of a map here. There's a satchel. The flask is probably behind the satchel. You have some beads here in the beard. A feather in the hat. Very nice details. I also love the stuff and how heavy it is with the big gem on top. It feels a little bit top heavy, but never mind that. One thing I don't like, and we see this here, here, and here, is that he has stuff in a bag, but the bag is closed at the same time. And it stands out the most with the bottles here. With the maps here, you could say, well, they are on the other side in a side pocket of that backpack. But here, it's clear it's just sitting on top. So that's not so great. But otherwise, very, very cool. Very nice details. Oh, this is also very nice. Look at the different flasks he has here. Different colors also from the liquids. A map sticking out of his coat. Very cool details. I love that. And there's a difference, like a flat... more like a sketch kind of drawing here. You see, like no gradients here for the depth, just the shape and a bit of coloring. Very nice, love that. And here the back is almost open. Very nice, very cool. I also love the book with all the bookmarks in there. Wow, very cool. So Gwen is really good. I'm very impressed with the results of Gwen so far, to be honest. Here we have Flux 1 Kriya. Whose context window? The less you prompt, the more it hallucinates. Oh, yes. Right. Yeah. This is, what did I say? What is that? Flux 1 Kriya. There we go. Again, very nice details. Lots of patches on his clothing. He looks like he has fallen into like a color bucket or something. But yeah, interesting. Nice details. Nice satchel here. A little bit of like... notes or letters stuffed into his belt. That's interesting. Interesting notebook here also. Very nice. Pretty cool. This is nice with the pearl chain here. Or whatever it is. A gem chain or something. Interesting detail. Wow. I wish that this giant gem here was used somewhere here in the staff. Because here it's like a little bit out of place maybe. But pretty cool. Very nice. Oh, I love that. This reminds me a little bit of Warhammer. You see like these little like spells or something like that hanging from his clothing, maybe protecting him from something. You don't see that too often. So that's actually a very nice detail to have that in there. And kind of like a strange like satchel here that's like square, like a box almost. Very interesting. But this also is a nice bag. Can you see that? Yeah, the bag down here. That seems to have kind of like an opening to the side. Pretty interesting. What model is that again? That is still Flux 1. Okay, cool. The patches like this is really like just color here, not really like patches. That's a little bit over the top maybe. Again, we have this giant gem that looks like a small sword in this case. And completely different art style also. I feel like this got a little bit overboard here. This art style here. All right, next one. Very patchy. Interesting. So that model, is, yeah, a little bit too much on the patches here and the color, whatever that is, paint. Interesting here that we have a face and then it's kind of like cut off as if this was like another sheet laying on top of this drawing. That's kind of strange. Yeah. Flux Korea has some cool art that other Flux models aren't trained on. Yeah, you can like, it's interesting. Flux is kind of rigid, so if you mix it with some other stuff, it becomes more flexible. I found it's also good to like, this is certainly ChatGPT, yes it is. When you train a Flux LoRa and then you throw in 1 or 2 images in a different art style, it makes the LoRa way more flexible from the styles. Like the art styles should be maybe going into the direction you want to have, like anime or a painting or something like that. But it can really help like make the LoRa more flexible to say it's not just a photo of you or whatever you trained on, it's also like a painting or an anime or a sketch or a comic book style or something like that at the same time, you know. Pocket knife dagger, yeah. That's a good idea. All right, so interestingly enough, ChatGPT, not the greatest results. Everything is just brown, not very creative from the details. I'm very surprised by that. I would have thought that ChatGPT is doing a way better job with that. Maybe ChatGPT just needs a different prompt or something, but I mean the drawings are pretty clean. I love how dimensional these bottles are over here, but everything is just brown. So that's not so great. And here again, very brown. Interesting details, but like, yeah, not too much color and not like too creative either from the results. Interesting, very surprising, especially because the prompt was from ChatGPT and the image is from ChatGPT, so you would think they match a little bit better, right? Yeah, the Flux model should. I don't know why Flux doesn't have all of these things we had from other models, right? With IP adapter and deepfake and control net and all these kind of things, right? Here we have Dream 3 again. There we go. Wow. I feel like Dream and Gwen are often very similar, right? So that's again very beautiful, kind of blurry, a little bit muddy from the lines. Love this stuff. With the gem here like tied to the side of the staff, which is a little bit strange. I think I would love this more if this gem was kind of like growing out of the top of that staff rather than being like tied to it from the side. But still pretty cool. Love the feathers on here, the little dagger that we have here, the notebook and so on. He has this big bottle here in his little side satchel. That's pretty cool. And a map with him. So very nice details. Also love how on the backpack he has a lot of like gems on the outside. Very cool, to be honest. Very nice. Okay, another one. Very similar. This is again, what is this? Dream 3. Very similar from the design. Surprising. A little bit different from the details. Also with the staff now, the gem is hanging down, a little bit like teardrop shape maybe. Lovely little sketchbook here and a dagger again to that. Very interesting. Okay, next one, what do we have here? That's Imagine 4. Pretty clean, interesting line art here. Very nice. This went completely overboard here. No idea what there. Made a big mistake here. Tried to like kind of make a face, but didn't really work. I love that we have like a front view and a side view, and they are somewhat similar, I would say. The staff is very similar. That's pretty nice. Yeah, and the clothing is kind of similar, even though it's also kind of different. Here he has some trinkets, and here he doesn't. And the flask are on both, but he has a very big satchel. He has a very small satchel. So yeah, interesting. I wonder how practical it is to have a bag on knee high. I think this would swing a lot. But it looks cool though, to be honest. It looks pretty nice. And I love the close-up, which is very similar to this one. When you look at the little trinkets, you see here tear shape, this little like chest piece and a round one. Tear shape, chest piece, round one. So this looks like an upscale of that one. I love that. That's very interesting. Also the beard elements, everything here is the same as here. That is really nice. I wish really that AI could do that better. Could do this kind of thing more. Where you just like select a region and say, give me that, but with more detail. And usually you can't do that. Like, you can do upscaling, but usually upscaling invents new details. It doesn't show you the same thing, but just like crisper. Like it's an actual like close-up drawing of that part, right? And also, you usually don't have this kind of like pointing out something and say, hey, give me that object, but like larger, right? That's pretty cool. I love that because it's very similar. With an upscale, maybe you get something like that, but not in that like nice similar detail, I would think. Very cool. Anyways, oh, we have a second one, Imagine 4. Again, here it's different. You see that the close-up has different details than this view. Interesting. What are you using? It's Kriya 4. That's that's Kriya 4. Sorry, that's Kriya, and Kriya has a lot of different models. And this model right now that we are looking at is Imagine 4. So Kriya has a ton of models in there. I love this stuff. And the details on the clothing, 2 maps here or whatever, scrolls. We have the 2 scrolls here too. That is a nice detail. And the back is also here. So this is kind of like a side view, but it kind of combines these 2 sides together on one side for some reason. He has 2 belts, which kind of makes sense if you carry more stuff, so that's nice. I love that he has like 2 of these shoulder coats, or at least like one. Like a fabric one, and then something is sticking out below that might be fur, I'm not quite sure, or a different kind of fabric. Pretty nice. Again, the staff is pretty cool. Love the books with the bookmarks, and the astrolabe is also very nice. Pretty cool details, I have to say. Very, very nice. Love the back view also. More of these scrolls and satchels and everything. This guy's loaded, and also has a lot of like different like trinkets again on his clothing. Very nice, very nice. And then we have Ideogram 3. There we go. This looks like the old Dreamcast logo a little bit. And interesting drawing style here. Very flat. Just a little bit of like hinted shadows here. No grading, no color grading here. Just like flat tones. But very nice. Love that. The face isn't very detailed here. That's not so great. And the staff is kind of like an interesting detail here. The staff seems to kind of like breaking off in between these wirings here. You see, every time it wraps around, the thickness changes for some reason. That's a little bit strange. Also, I think this and this is the exact same drawing, right? The feather here has a different color, but mostly everything seems to be the same, which is very rare. I've never seen that. To get something that's like basically identical, right? All of the details, the shadows, even the like cut-offs of the ripped, where the clothing is ripped, is kind of the same shape. Even the shoe ties. Interesting. Okay. And there we have a close-up of the face. Same details again, but not more detailed in this case, which is strange. All right. So there we have it. And then we have one more with the Ideogram 3. This is way more detailed. Now we have the shading in there. It seems like this is kind of like, yeah, it's not the same character. It's kind of like a similar character. Interesting. But again, like the same character twice. Just the feathers have a little bit different colors. Strange. Even the squiggly lines on the paper are the same. Isn't that strange? I haven't really seen that before. that you get like a basically exact copy of the shape twice in the same image. That is very strange. Okay, anyways, what else should we try? That was a very interesting test. I love how the different like art styles worked out. Personally, I really loved 1.2.2, even though it's like unsharp and a little bit muddy from the details. So you would need maybe a good upscaler to enhance this and create the details. But I love the playfulness of the style. I loved Flux 1 also. Flux, even though I feel like always it's too clean, it still created some very beautiful details. By the way, you can use the image. So we can add this as an image prompt and then render this again, but in Flux. Let's use the prompt also. Can we do that? Yeah, we can do that. And then you might get some better details out of that. That could be a trick on Kriya to do it like that. Let's make this bigger, higher here, 0.75, sorry. And then let's go with 94. So it should be as similar, like pretty similar to the original. And it's creating a different style, but it's, as you can see, it can create also some more details and some more sharpness in there, even though it's a different image now. And it kind of lost the playfulness. It's, yeah, you know, like with the shoes, they have kind of like a little bit of the same playfulness, but not quite, you know. And these are the other ones with lower setting. But it's inspired by that. So you can get some pretty like more crisper details if you want to. But this, in that case, it's kind of like a new image. But not too bad, right? You can play around with that to maybe enhance some stuff. Okay. Yeah, Nano Banana, right. Yeah. I haven't done a video on that yet, to be honest. What else should we test? I think we have time for one more test, I guess. So what could we test? What would be an interesting test for AI? Maybe a test of something where the models can do it, but you can see the differences between the different models. That might be interesting. I mean, in this case, we kind of, I would say, tested the creativity of the models and how organic and clean they are. So, what else could we test? Should we test text, maybe? Are all of the models good at text? Try a ship. A ship, I think all of the models would be bad at a ship because it just has too many details. Also a bicycle or stuff like that, it has too many like repetitive, consistent details, and the AI models are just not good with that. Crosshair ship? What is a Corsair ship? Flying through space. What is a Corsair ship? I have to check that. Oh no. No, forget about that. It's too abstract. Oh no, not too abstract. Sorry, it's not too abstract. It's too many like repeating elements. AI is not great at that. So all of the models would kind of fail on that. A baseball bat in half. No, I mean something that AI can do, but we can see the differences between the models. Spaceship is too ambiguous. You don't really know what a spaceship looks like. So... A burger is too easy. What could we do? I mean, we could do a movie character and then we see how limited it is, or a different like specific style from a show or something. And that shows like how But I think a lot of models today have like the stars or stuff like that, or different like styles from shows rendered out of them, right? Bikini ladies. I was thinking about that too. The jiggle factor, but we don't really have that here with the static images. Just the jiggle physics. Spaceship inspired by a bug. Triple set. What triple set? Bikini. Oh yeah, the bikini ladies. Triple monkey. Okay, what can we do with the bikini lady though? What would be the test of that? Oh, okay. Let's try. A woman in a bikini. Hand mirror that is reflecting herself. Beach in the background. Give me this as a prompt. Okay, let's see. In a bikini standing on a beach holding a small hand mirror? No, a large hand mirror. Holding a large hand mirror. The mirror reflects her face and upper body. Okay. Clearly creating a striking double image. Sunset, seaside background, warm natural lighting, detailed reflection, cinematic composition. That sounds pretty good. Okay, cool. Let's see. There we have a good test with a bikini lady. So where do we go? Korea 1. Give me some magic here, please. And then we have 1, 2.2. It's not doing it. Okay. Something is wrong. Oh, we have the image still. Okay, one more time. There we go. And then there we go. It already didn't work. And there we go. And there we go. And whoa. Okay, Flux Korea. There we go. What else do we have here? ChatGPT. I wonder if ChatGPT even accepts that. See Dream. I have to change the ratio. There we go. And then Imagine 4. And then we have Ideogram. Again, change the ratio. There we go. Okay, cool. So let's see. With the nice beach ladies here. All right. Oh, okay. Now we're done. Okay. All right. So here's the first one. We have some ghost fingers here on the side. We don't see her. We only see the reflection, which is a nice trick to not give us a chance to actually compare the both of them. It's not too bad, though, I have to say. For some reason, there's a house in the background that looks way too close to her, the way that she's standing on the... I used kind of bikini prompt a few days ago, and output was Japanese teenage student in Starbucks. That made me embarrassed. Oh, interesting. Okay. There we go. So, yeah, not so great. Next one. Oh, hello. All right. Yeah, 4 fingers. That's good. The way she's holding is good. The reflection has the arm on the wrong side. That's bad. The background is the same landscape. That's good. And the bikini has the same pattern. That's also nice. So almost there. If the arm would be on the other side, it would be good. Interesting. Very nice. Okay. Right. Other than that, pretty cool image, right? Very nice. Okay, next one. Completely not a mirror. By the way, where are we? What model is that? The first one was 2.2 for some reason. Then we have Korea. And then 2.2 again. Okay, so Korea 1 Not a mirror at all, otherwise. Very nice. Love how the fingers hold this ring on both sides. Pretty cool. Right amount of fingers. Very good. Nice navel. There we go. Oh, look at that. Wow. The fingers, he has like 2 thumbs, I guess. So that didn't work. This hand is pretty good. Is she looking correctly into the mirror? We can't really tell, right? So that's again this kind of like trick where we can't really compare it. The hand is not great, but the rest is pretty good, I would say, right? Ooh, that's a beautiful image. Look at that. She has not enough fingers, or she has one of the fingers here behind the staff for some reason. Other than that, it's kind of nice. I feel like the reflection is too high for her. The reflection looks kind of off. I think we should see the side of her shoulder in the reflection. But other than that, it's kind of cool. Again, not a mirror. Again, the hands are pretty nice, but very wrinkled here for some reason. Yeah, beautiful lady. Nice bikini. And very thick eyebrows. Wow, okay. Okay, by the way, what model are we? Okay, next model, 2.2 again. They're like, it completely went overboard here. So the woman in the mirror is also holding the mirror, and then some goofy stuff is going on over here. So that didn't work at all. But other than that, kind of cool. I feel like that might be something for Instagram though. When you have 2 women who wear the same kind of bikini and one woman is covered by the mirror while the other woman is reflected in the mirror, but you don't see her in the image. So it looks like she's looking through a ring, but actually it's a reflection. I feel like that might be cool, right? That might be interesting. And then you have also the sky behind her. That might be an interesting effect to have that for Instagram as a photo. Oh, I like that one. Pretty cool. Interesting idea. Yeah, the reflection doesn't work at all because we see here a little bit of her boobs on the side, but then it doesn't like match up with the reflection. The hand reflection here is almost like it's going there, but then there's no fingers in here. So that's a little bit strange. I love the little tattoo she has here. It looks a little bit like a scorpion or something. It's a cool idea, but the reflection didn't work. But pretty cool this still. Very nice. Oh, okay, interesting. It's nice, but for some reason there's a different woman in the reflection. Like she has the Flux face and then she doesn't have the Flux face. Very interesting. Where are we, by the way? This is Flux. Okay, of course this is Flux. This is Flux face. With the like very strong jaw, like she could bite through an iron chain with that. And then this is a very nice, soft, round face. Yeah. Good fingers, good hand here holding the mirror. A beautiful mirror also, by the way. Yeah, there we go. Next one. Ooh, interesting. Oh, there's even text on the mirror for some reason. I guess like objects in the mirror appear closer or something. Yeah, all right. Again, a very interesting idea where she's holding a mirror and then you see a different woman in the mirror. Yeah, again, not the same woman. So Flux, not so great with reflections, I guess. Interesting. Ooh, okay. Nice butt. There we go. Beautiful bikini also. Again, pretty interesting with the reflection that is looking out of the mirror, but again, not the reflection of her. Completely different pose. Yeah, but otherwise, very nice. There we go. And also, like, what's happening here? That's, I don't know what's going on there. Next one, this is kind of nice. The finger is like a meter long here, like very thin, long, creepy finger from a Stephen King novel. The reflection is wrong again. She's looking down, she's looking straight, doesn't really work. But the bikini is pretty nice. That's some pretty good, yeah, details there. And the bikini, for some reason, is tied in the front and in the back. Kind of strange. All right. What are we, by the way? Oh, this is still Flux. Okay, so Flux, not great with reflections, I guess. At least not in this case. Here we have Gwen. And I have to say, again, I'm pretty impressed with Gwen. This is pretty cool. A little bit of problem with the arms here. So she's holding the mirror, but this arm is hanging down, as we can see here in the background. The reflection itself is pretty cool, I would say. And that arm here is kind of bent upwards to hold the mirror, but then we don't see that over here. It might be covered by the body, but I don't think so. But in Korea, if you use bikini images on YouTube for too long, your live stream can suddenly get cut off. Really? Oh, interesting. Maybe. I don't know. This is also nice, but we are also ending the stream soon anyways. So this is also a very nice reflection. Again, the arms are not right. So that's not too great. Yeah. Otherwise, I love the atmosphere. What model is this? This is also Gwen. I'm really happy with Gwen. Gwen does pretty beautiful images. Yeah, looks very nice. Next one. Oh, wow. Look at that. That is... I don't know what's going on here. It's very strange. It looks like a reflection and not a reflection at the same time, which is very strange. Interesting. And that one, oh, that's also a very nice image. Like photography-wise, that's pretty cool. It would be cool if this is a real photo and this is her actual reflection, but taken on a different take of the same photo. It's a cool idea, have to say. Pretty nice. Yeah. But yeah, not what we are looking for. What model is that, by the way? This is Flux 1 Korea. So again, Flux not great with the reflections, I guess. Again, the hands are pretty cool, holding this kind of ring here. Other than that, not a reflection. And here again, there's a reflection here, but then this is not. So yeah, very strange. Okay, cool. Next model, we have ChatGPT. Doing kind of a good job, to be honest. Not too bad. She's looking straight into the mirror, and then the reflection is coming and looking at her, so that's pretty nice. But the hand here is holding the mirror so the reflection is holding the mirror again. And that's, yeah, the hand situation is kind of difficult. It's an interesting test, though, because it's like interacting with objects, both in the real world and in the mirror world. And a lot of models seem to have a problem with that. This is very cool. I love that. The mirror is very eerie with this kind of handle down here and a very huge size. But I love that. It has this kind of like dreamy otherworld kind of, you know, quality because the mirror looks so strange. The reflection is pretty cool, though. I kind of think the reflection would work out like that. Even we see here the side of the shoulder. It's pretty cool. Amazing body, I have to say. Very good. I love that one. That is what? ChatGPT. ChatGPT doing a pretty good job with that. Okay, here we have Sea Dream 3. I feel like Sea Dream 3 and Gwen are often very similar. Look at that. Even the design of the bikini is kind of similar. 1 second. Yeah, Sea Dream 3. Wow, I can't talk anymore. Pretty good, I would say. Not too bad, I guess. The reflection works. A little bit too high maybe, but not too bad. Next one. Ooh. That's pretty cool. She looks a little bit upset. But do you think that works or not? I feel like it kind of works, right? That's surprisingly good. Again, that is Sea Dream 3. Then we have Imagine 4. Wow. Okay, that also works pretty well, I would say. What do you say? It's never perfect. They use similar data sets for sure. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. This is surprisingly good, I have to say. The way she holds the mirror, especially it's a big mirror, she holds it with both hands. That's pretty cool. The design of the bikini seems to be the same as these little strings here on the back. And the way she looks at it, and the mirror is a little bit angled, so we see her a bit from the below. Also very nice. I really love this image. That's a pretty cool result. And this one is also not too bad. The arm here is strange, especially there shouldn't be a body here in the background if this is just a reflection. And her face here is in the shadow and here it's in the sun, so didn't really work too well for that one. Okay, interesting. Ah, okay. The reflection is not the reflection of that woman. She's looking into a different direction. The head position is different. Everything is kind of different. So yeah, reflections overall pretty difficult. This is, by the way, Ideogram 3. There we have that. And then we have this. And this is kind of cool. I love it. This has also a little bit of like this like fine art photography kind of style that's a little bit eerie and questioning and breaking your perception or something like that, you know. What I love about that also is like the way she's lit here in the reflection looks a little bit more like studio light than actual beach light, right? And the way she's looking at her is a little bit accusatory, you know. I love that. That's like, you know, the reflection is questioning what's going on with you. And the mirror is this kind of like motherly, you know, like last generation mother kind of mirror. That has a lot of implications as an image. I kind of love that. That's a pretty cool image. Very nice. Okay. So there we go. We are at the 2-hour mark, my friends. We have seen a lot of different comparisons. I think that was pretty cool as a live stream. I hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, I used, as you've seen, I've used Kriya because Kriya just has a ton of different models on their website you can use to do comparisons like that or whatever you want to do. So yeah, and it's also, by the way, not a sponsored video. All right, so thank you very much for watching. It was a lot of fun to check that out and talk with you about the models. Marduk, let's talk more about the grid prompting or creation idea to get better images, but not today because already it's pretty late here. So let's do that maybe tomorrow. But thank you very much for all of the input and also all of the amazing chat messages from everybody, of course. Thank you very much. And where's the music? There we go. Thank you very much and see you soon, my friends. Have a good night. Bye. Where's the end screen? There we go. Bye. Thank you very much. Bye.